Man, I just want to get up and start hitting a little jig, hitting a little dance. You know what I mean? Like, woo! You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Low key, just then I opened up the stream on YouTube so I can send the link to people. And so I just heard everything twice. It was really scary because I didn't know where it was coming from.
You had no idea
I was like,
about
what?
to happen.
I had 2,000 tabs opened up. It's not fun.
No, it's not. But you know what is fun is the fact that we get to gloat for an hour and a half about how we were right and all that stuff. So last time this season, let's kick it off. Welcome everyone to Survivor Stock Watch, the finale, episode 13. We're the best, never in doubt, the GOATs. I'm Jack. That is Will. With a new format, new background, new layout. I think this is the first show to actually do that with all the new stuff. So we're, debuting all the stuff here. But, Will, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a Friday afternoon. Survivor's over. Honestly, it was a really cool finale. It was closer than I thought. And now I'm a little sad though because it's the last episode of Survivor Stock Watch until 47.
It is sad. It is quite unfortunate to be saying goodbye to everything for a little bit and everyone for a little bit.
I know.
Chris saying this. Yeah, we'll talk about that because, again, we called that too. And Jay saying hi. Chris and Jay, two very loyal commenters and viewers of the Stock Watch this season. We thank you. Yes, we were absolutely correct. I was at the finale event in New York City with everybody. Shout out to everybody who, is watching this and may have seen me there. As well as Matthew, Kara, Abraham, seeing all of them as well. Good times. Every single time something happened on screen, I was just like, yep, Will and I talked about that. We were right. We knew what was going to happen. And yes, Jay.
I was only wrong about one thing the entire finale. It was so... I felt on top of the world. I was telling my parents, I'm like, yep, this happened, and this is going to happen. They thought I was a wizard.
Absolutely. And we talked about it. I think we had a true rags to riches story this season for Survivor Stock Watch, coming from the ground of picking Jem as our number one and Mariah as our top four, losing them the next episode, basically the entire first half of the season, and then getting it right. It just feels good. We're back. We're so back.
I just think everything about this season was rags to riches. Us and our winner picks, the winner's storyline. I think the season itself started out pretty badly. I was not high on it. And it got better and better and better and better as the episodes went on. And honestly, I really enjoy the finale. It was really close. A lot of shocking moments. Very vicious.
Very vicious.
Very.
We're going to talk about that. Some comments here before we get into it. Yes, Randy, absolutely. I mean, what else would we be here? Here we go. This is fun. Okay, well, I can't answer the second two because that didn't happen. The third one may have, but I did not beat Abe in an arm wrestling match. We did not play an arm wrestling match. Although if I knew that was a question of contention, I would have absolutely challenged him and won.
You would have lost.
No, I would have won. How much money did Matt give away? None, not at all. He didn't. Yeah, he did the challenges with all the players, all the people, and asking questions and all that. I don't know, $20 maybe. I don't know. It was cool. Meeting Tegwith was really fun. Her and the two Ryans that she was with was very fun. And they're all really cool. She gave me actually the last Kenzie sticker of the night. Like I was the last one. I survived. I got it right. And then how short was Kara? Yeah, she was short. Survivor social, not that's the thing. That's the thing. Like I always wonder how tall or short people are. A lot. I was taller than probably 95 of the contestants I've seen on Survivor, which is kind of shocking.
Oh, yeah.
They're only 6 foot, and a lot of them are like, Charlie's like clocking in 5'9". Hunter's like barely taller than me. So is Jelinski. Like it was weird to see all their heights in person. It was weird.
Yeah, when I met you in person, I thought you were a lot shorter.
Everyone thinks I'm short.
It's because of your personality, dog. 5'4" personality. I'm not gonna lie.
I have a 5'4" personality.
We were two lumbering oafs in Outback Steakhouse. Manager was like, Will, why are you taking a picture with this customer?
Who the hell is this guy? All right, here we go. The rule book. It will be back next season. By the way, we've been making changes every show throughout the season. Next season, Survivor 47, when we are back, we will be doing a new thing. Like we'll be trying to figure out a new layout, a new slide presentation. We're gonna spice it up, revitalize it for y'all. Is Matthew the tallest Survivor Now analyst? Honestly, probably. He's like 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah,
he's pretty tall. And I'd say so, absolutely. But here we go.
Abraham, I always thought he was like taller than all of us.
I think he's like 5'9", 5'10", like around there. Yeah, it was interesting. All right, here we go. The pre-Bonus and Bonus. So Survivor 46. I defined it in kind of, I want to say 3 eras, but really it's 2. It's the pre-Bonu and it's the post-Bonu. Because the pre-Bonu, I was a little worried. Will was a little worried as well, not going to lie, of the status of the season, thinking, wasn't it to end out good? Was this going to be a good run? First 4 episodes did not give me a good impression. Jelinski was a great first boot, but after that, it just kind of fell down the drain. But, other than that, got the predictions pretty right. I mean, Jess, we did pretty decent on. Rand did pretty decently. And once Bonu had his second episode, we knew he was done. Overall, I think we did pretty well in the first part. Like, it's where we get to the post-Bonu that we show our weaknesses, Yeah,
no. I mean, the pre-Bonus, it was so hard to read because the edit was so imbalanced. Right. And it's hard to, make a balance when you have one tribe being a disaster. You have someone like Bonu. It's really hard for you to be like, all right, here's that for 20 minutes. Now here's Siga all hanging out, having the time of their life. But we don't really have the best group of players or characters or, right here. Jelinski was fun, but then I feel like he's such a lightning in a bottle where he can never come back. Randon was a little robbed, but even then, how far could he have gone? And then Jess and Bonu.
Absolutely. Jay with an opinion. TBH, the only bad episodes were Randon and Quasi. Yeah, I'd say Jess, at least part of that episode I didn't really like, but I would agree with you. The Randon and the Bonu vote out, I'd say, were probably the weakest episodes of this season. And after that, it just got so much better. I mean, we're talking night and day transition here. And we'll get to the gem mistake, Chris. But yeah, I mean, these first 4 episodes, was trying to show us something new, show us something a little different, not being afraid to bash some people pretty openly on the early days of Survivor. So it was, I don't know, it was a good time. It was a good time kind of getting into the groove again. We started to find our way into a new groove. I think like episode 3 was where we finally did the graphic, which if you don't know what the graphic is, I mean, come on, like. Yes, obviously that's coming back. But yeah, like, I wouldn't say these were the worst 4 episodes, but if it continued this way later into the season, I think we were due for a bad time. And by the way, Chris, I actually did say hi to Jelinski because I did know him before he played Survivor, coming away from the Instagram days. But it was still nice to hear everyone saying, "Hey, several," haha, while they were pointing at him, which was, it's kind of. What do you think, Will?
What do you mean? What do I think? I haven't met these people.
No, I'm talking about the first 4 episodes of Survivor.
Yeah, no, I know. I was like giving you a hard time. Yeah, no. Again, I think I told you, Jack, in like through text. I'm like, this season kind of had a mean streak. Episode 2, I wasn't really a big fan of because I feel like Jess didn't really deserve having a whole episode. Pretty much just not attacking her. It felt way too mean spirited. But then the rest of the season also felt mean spirited, but in such a cartoonish way that it kind of makes up for it. But Episode 1 was cool. Everything else kind of fell flat. But that's just me.
That's just how it turns, Unfortunately, we got a bad or, not the greatest taste in our mouths for the first 4 episodes. And the last thing we'll do for the Rebanus and for every slide moving forward is, do you see anybody back? We always talk about it, but now it's actually official that 50 is going to be returnees. So could you see anybody on this slide back on Survivor 50?
People are going to say I can see Banu and Jelinski coming back. No. So Jelinski, I don't think should ever come back because I think he just too perfect in this one episode. It's kind of like Emily from 45. And Banu, is casting him again, knowing what he's like on the island is just not a good idea for anyone's psyche.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, no. Randon and Jess, they're just not coming back. Maybe Randon in a future Philippines-esque season, but even then, I could see them bringing back like Pat and even Matthew over Randon. But that's just me.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't see anybody coming back. The most realistic is actually probably Jelinski in a weird world here. I'd love to see him back, but I think 2 at most 3 are coming back from the season. And I feel like I have my picks pretty strongly now of who will be coming back, and we'll get to them later. But now we go to the tough times. Oh God. The first 2 on the left. Tim we got pretty right. But Jem and Mariah, oh man, we screwed up bad. So episode 4, we think Jem is gonna win Survivor 46. We lock it in stone. We're like, yep, this is our pick. Goes on the next episode. We're like, okay, we need to backtrack. We need to do something right. And so then we pick Mariah as like a top contender. And then she goes home, And it's just like, what the hell?
In our defense, why did Mariah have such a good edit the entire season?
Yeah, why? Like, there's actually no, love Mariah, met her in New York, really cool, really awesome person. No reason to have that kind of an edit, like a winter smoke screen. It was absolutely not anything consequential to this season of Survivor. So, but yeah, I mean, this was the time when everyone was like, all right, we had the Banu time. We had the first 4 episodes. Let's kind of reset, right? Let's see what Survivor 46 can do without Banu and in like a new environment. And oh man, did it come back. Because these 3 episodes were absolutely stellar. The Gem elimination episode, fantastic. Mergatory, great. Tim and we'll get to Soda, but Tim and Soda's boot episode, also really, really cool. Like, honestly, I think any episode episode 5 past, there wasn't a really bad episode in that bunch. It was quite good. I mean, you're not getting the crazy Cambodia-esque voting block gameplay, but you're getting some really unique stuff and some really cool stuff regardless. And I think
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a good time. All right, hit me with it, Will. What do you think?
Yeah. So I'm still wearing my Sega buff. I still got this. I'm still proud of this.
Oh yeah,
Even
they're all
though-
three Sega. they're all Sega.
Yeah, no. So when I did my draft, I had Q as my first pick, which really funny. I then had Mariah, and then I had Tevin. Episode 2 and 3, I'm like, Mariah is the winner. She's going to be my champion. And then she gets voted out really early, and I'm like, crap. Better than my draft last year, but yeah, no. Honestly, I could honestly see like Gem coming back
I could as well.
as like a Wentworth-esque, maybe Mariah, but to a lesser extent, just because I think Mariah just has too much opposition in terms of like archetype, of just being the nerd. Tim, underrated king. I'm gonna be real with you. I think he deserved more screen time and more confessionals because the little bits we had were fantastic. But sadly, the Segas weren't the best game players except for 2 people.
Couple things here from the comments. Maybe they thought it was Liz and she got the edit as the Fallen Angel. Yeah, probably. Honestly, that could be right, Chris. They had that was a thing we had like in the early season, like trying to match them up together. Gem has so much untapped potential. Oh yeah, I mean, she's not one of my picks to come back. Not like I'd love to see her back, but she's not my likely person to come back. But if she did, I would not be surprised, and I would be quite excited. Like it's a Kelly Wentworth-esque scenario with that, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciated all 3 of these players in their own way. Tim kind of coming up from not really being shown the first couple episodes. We thought he was cooked because he didn't exist on Survivor 46 for the longest time. And then when he did, it was so nice to see him because he was actually a really cool player and really had some good ideas. Mariah, had a great character story. Lot of really great edit. I think that, in a weird way, the semi-decoy edit, as Jay says here, is correct, but it also could be because they mixed it up with Liz. Who knows? Probably. And then Gem, again, just another standout. And I mean, we've had some really solid, we've had a couple solid pre-jury standouts from the new era. Like I think of Gem, I think of Matthew from 44. You could put Josh on there. He didn't make the jury. Josh didn't make the jury. You have like a couple of people from the previous seasons from the new era that could be on like a pre-jurors versus new players type of season. And Gem's absolutely one of them.
Or Daniel from 42. Shout out
to Daniel Strunk. Oh, God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, this is where it really started to turn around this season. And I think it even exemplified itself even more in the jury. The 6 jurors we have, this is the most we've ever had on the screen ever in Stockwatch history. So welcome to history, everyone. Yes, so we have 6 jurors here. The other, jurors are in wait. We have Soda, Tevin, Hunter, Tiff, Venus, and Q. Wow, what a stacked group of players. And did you notice that 4 of them went home with idols in their pockets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a record. Beating out
it is a record.
Island of the Idols.
With like 3, right?
I think so. It was either 3 or 4. It was a lot because it's Island of the Idols, but no one ever talks about it because it's Island of the Idols. So
never have we seen a season where more players have taken home souvenirs. Like, are they just greedy? Like, do they just want to take home all their stuff? Like, play your idols, people. 4 times in a row it was missed out on. Absolutely landmark statistic. A statistic no one would have seen coming this season. Like, no one expected this. But it's change your caption.
Yeah, congratulations.
All right. Literally, again, Chris, literally no one played an idol at all. I will get to the gameplay of the final 5 soon, and who I think should have been looking a lot harder for an idol. But yeah, let's talk about them individually here. I mean, Soda, really good player. I liked seeing her on the screen, although she wasn't really edited the most positively this season. She's great. I'm pretty sure she was there. Wednesday was a blur. So some of the people I don't remember.
Wednesday?
Yeah. Some of the people I don't remember seeing that well on Wednesday, but I'm sure Soda was there and she's a great person. Any thoughts on Soda?
Yeah, Soda, I think she's kind of like a more positive Banu, if you think about it. Stick with me on this, all right? Because Soda had like such a camp counselor mentality of like positivity and whatnot, but also contradicted that throughout the entire season, right? With her rivalry with Venus and whatnot.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like Banu, how Banu wants to be this like big peace and love kind of guy, but then screams at Jess in the challenge. But Soda was a lot more entertaining at that, you know? Soda was just all right in a lot of categories, but I do appreciate her role in the season of just being Venus's op the entire time. I was not a big Soda fan, but I'm glad that she was a part of the season and contributed what she contributed.
Yeah. And I'd say she had one of the best jury questions I've seen in a while. You know, asking, okay, so this is what everyone perceives of your game. Prove me right or prove me wrong. And do it. I mean, the 30-second thing, you know, we'll get to that, I think, with Tiffany and with all the timing and all that, because that's a little, you know, we'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. But the question, really, really great question. And I think that should be asked basically every season because, you know, that is just such a perfect question to answer. And I think it's a key reason why we saw someone win and someone lose Survivor 46. So. Yeah. But we go to Tevin. I met Tevin. I took a picture with Tevin because I actually, you know, he's from Virginia, went to VCU. So, hooray. Shout out to that. Couple friends with the VCU. But yeah, Tevin had a really great role in this season as kind of like a true opposition to Venus controlling his strategy, the Nami tribe, and then it all falling apart so suddenly at the final 10. The 6 is a curse. And this is, I mean, with Tim, it did start, but it really started the 6 curse because it was just lights out after that occurrence. But yeah, Tevin was a great presence on the season, really entertaining. I could definitely see them wanting Tevin back in Fiji. I would not be surprised. I think he is a very, I'm not going to say safe, but a very comfortable pick of like someone who would return. Like a very comfortable, like, hey, you want to bring Tevin back? Yeah, sure, we'll bring Tevin back. Okay, great, he's back. Like, I think that is the most comfortable pick you can make on this season. And that opening monologue was absolutely iconic, Jay. I agree.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I kind of called Tevin and clocked him really early for being a very big player. I think Tevin is going to just come back just because he is very well spoken. He's very comfortable in front of a camera. You know, he's able to deliver amazing confessionals. Not just the opening monologue, but also the whole fishing reward. I thought was a really good touch to the season. Yeah, I think Tevin, I was a little surprised with how early he went out. I was expecting a more like 8th place finish, not final 10. But it's also kind of like Kelly from last season, so
we take what we can get here. Yeah. We'll move to Hunter. We'll keep speeding along here. Hunter was a contender for basically his entire time throughout the season, and got really played the first time he was like truly vulnerable at the final 9, getting that split vote on him. And this is the start of when Q got targeted a lot and all of that. Yeah, I mean, Hunter was a really great person to see on the season. Again, I think he could easily come back on the show, aka Survivor MacGyver, right, Jay? Absolutely. Yeah, he was a great presence on the season. We predicted him going and doing well. Didn't happen as well as we thought he would. But I think a lot of people will fondly remember Hunter, and I think that he's surely on some returning player lists potentially soon. And yeah, he's the only one in Nami who really got like a winner edit, like a chance at it. Like I feel like it really came down to Kenzie and Charlie super late into the season. But if anyone were to win from Nami, it would have been Hunter.
Yeah, he was consistently ranked high. Did we ever have him number 1 though?
Oh, I don't think so. Let me take a quick look. You keep chatting up.
Just because I feel like he had a very weird edit where I feel like his social game or lack thereof was kind of masked by being close with Tevin. And honestly, it's kind of like how Mariah and Jem were, right? You lose your closest ally and you're unable to recover the next vote. And it was interesting seeing Hunter, who was very cool, calm, collected to that the entire season, really crack and crumble under pressure at his tribal council, saying like, "Hey, am I safe? Am I good? I have this idol. What do I do? What do I do?"
Yeah, well, you had him at number 1 at episode 2 and episode 5.
That's fair. I don't think that's.
I did not have him at number 1.
All right. Mariah, number 1, episode 1.
Yeah, episode 1. She had a great premiere. Well, come on.
Yeah,
that's like the Katura.
Hunter had a great episode 2. So,
I'm gonna stop relying on like super solid premieres. Like I need someone to have a decent premiere. Like if someone has a perfect premiere, I'm making sure that I never put them on the contender list.
Yep. Now you're learning.
We moved to Tiffany, my winner pick. Really unfortunate that she went home at 8th with an idol in her pocket. But yes, we shows the power of Kenzie's social game, absolutely, which we'll get to that. Yes, Tiffany was a really awesome person on the season. Like we're saying about everybody, but she really shined. Really had some great gameplay, really controlling that Yanu tribe so early on. I think that she's I don't know, like that's the thing. I'm sorry, Soda, but I think I see everybody but Soda on this jury here on this slide having a chance at returning to the game. Like I could see everybody on this slide except for Soda, unfortunately. Yeah. And Tiffany definitely has a great shot to return. You're absolutely right, Chris, with this. But what do you think about Tiffany? Because I think a lot of people are upset about the timing thing at the final tribal council. Here's my thing. 30 seconds, I think, is just a little short. I think a minute is what you need to do. Like, if you give them a minute, gives them enough time to kind of come up with the narrative and all of that. But 30 seconds, you got to get it all out. And if you don't, it could be life or death for your vote.
All right. This is going to be a controversial take. Hear me out. I don't blame Tiffany. And I think it is the player's fault for letting Tiffany on the jury when Kenzie was at the final tribal council. Because Tiffany, the entire time, was clearly supporting Kenzie. And that is no one's fault but the players. Because it's not like it was a weird twist where they didn't know the juries were there. And I see a lot of conversation about how unfair it was for Ben and Charlie. But at the same time, it's like, what are you going to do? You know? Yeah. And it's up to the players to have the jury want to vote for them. They didn't do that, and they lost that, and that's why Kenzie won the season. I do think it was a little unfair. I do think it was kind of, rude for Ben and Charlie, especially Ben, because I feel like his kind of gameplay needs more than 30 seconds. Charlie, I think he could have been more concise and said, like, hey, everything I wanted to happen happened. Left no doors closed. But when you're playing as under the radar and as laid back as Ben, and you need to drive that home, I think you need to go big picture and you need to be bold. And I just don't think you can do that in 30 seconds. Kenzie could have just had whatever in those 30 seconds and been fine. I did hear that Tiffany kind of shorthanded Charlie too. Only gave him 25 seconds.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of things. I've seen some reactions, especially on Wednesday. I saw some looks, but Jay's right here. It's an important question. Every question is important, but it's a really important question, especially one that Soda asked. Like, that is huge. And not having enough time to answer that is really, really, really tough. And I think everybody needs longer than 30 seconds. I think you're right that Ben probably needs the most time. And then Charlie, I'd say, and then Kenzie, and then Charlie, honestly, in that order to explain. But yeah, Tiff was a little bit bitter to Charlie, or maybe just like really trying to crack down on Charlie to make sure that Kenzie won. Which, hey, respect. I mean, look, like if you think Kenzie's playing a winning game, she was your number one. Do what you got to do, but at the same time, you know, it sucks. But
it does.
Regardless of that, I don't think my opinion does not change of Tiffany. I absolutely adore her, and I think it would be great to see her again. And we go to Venus now.
Randy's favorite.
Randy's favorite, who got a bad rap. I'm gonna say got a bad rap. Yeah. I think that the edit. I think she doesn't have maybe the best like social graces out of everybody in the world. Maybe she's coming in aggressive into some conversations may have not worked out for her as well as other people or, in any kind of way. But Venus absolutely is a great person who deserved better, Randy. Absolutely correct. Like, deserved better. I think she was put in a very tight and negative box on episode 1. And different cast, different season can go further. I mean, she made 7th. Like, she made it to 7th place in a season where she was on the outs in episode 1. That's pretty good. Like, if she's on a different season with a different cast, she might win the game.
No.
If she can really I don't know. I don't know. You can never say never when we live in a world where Gabler's won Survivor.
That is fair. My thing with Venus, I just don't think she has a lot of winning combinations. If you look back through other seasons.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because she is very abrasive. I understand she had a bad rep. She was put on the outs, but some of it, it's like I can't really blame Maria for not really thinking too fondly of Venus, as unfortunate as it is. But that's why I'm not really high on Venus as a strategist, but as a character on Survivor 46. 100%. I think her and the next person we have, Q, exemplify what Survivor 46 is and was.
Yes.
A dumpster fire of a season, but man, was it entertaining. Not front to back, but after Banu was gone, it was just a train wreck of a season. And absolutely. God, was it funny.
Oh, it was so great. I mean, a lot of people are saying Gabon comparisons. I don't think it's Gabon.
I think Nicaragua.
I think you think Nicaragua. I think a little bit of Panama, Exile Islands. Yeah. In there, I think a little bit of that, absolutely. With Charlie being the Terry type and everyone else kind of fitting in their own roles here and there. But yes, Venus absolutely contributed to what the season is, which was vicious. Absolutely. And still young. She comes back a couple years older, maybe even for 50. She comes back 2 years older? Oh my God. Could dominate, That's all you need. Isn't your frontal cortex fully developed at 25? We're not 25. I'm 22 and you're what? 19, 18?
I'm 14.
He's 14 years old. That's not good. All right, let's go to Q. What else do we need to say about Q? I mean, he undeniably, I think everyone's going to remember Q this season as probably the person this season beyond the winner. He's coming back for 50. That's my number one pick. Maybe not in terms of who I'd want, but, he's definitely up there in who I want. But in terms of coming back, it's Q. He's coming back. There's nothing stopping it. And he's a nice guy. I met him at the finale event. He's a nice guy. Gets a bad rap for being kind of egotistical. But
he did not get a bad rap. Come on.
I don't know. I think he's a good guy. I think we'll see him again on Survivor. Strategically knows the game, social game, could work on it, could do some work to really get better in there. But hey, made it to 6th, did a good job.
Yeah, Q is definitely returning. It was a roller coaster with Q because he was my first draft pick. I was the 3rd one picking, and I got Q. And the first 3 episodes, so promising for Q. I thought he was going to be the hero of the season. I thought he was going to be the good guy. And then the merge happened. And he had the biggest heel turn I've seen in a long time, where he goes from, wanting to coach Banu and be the hero to just not caring anymore. And he's definitely returning. I want to see him back. I hope for more Q. I think coach is a very apt description for Q in terms of just delusion and I'm excited for what Q does on Survivor 50.
Absolutely. By the way, yeah, that is about Venus. Sorry about that. It is absolutely about Venus, but it's also about Q. You can say the exact same thing about Q. And yeah, I think this is just a fantastic slate of jurors. Even with people that weren't really shown that much, there are no duds on this. Like the post merge of this season, banger. And a lot of people say Karamoan is like, oh, the pre-merge just sucks, but just wait till the post-merge gets good. You know, you'll enjoy it. I think this season, once you get past the first 4 episodes, you're in for a wild time, and they made up a great time. Let's go to the final 5. We're finally here. New pictures and all. Finally, we did new pictures. They didn't really do very good, like, single character shots this season. So we couldn't really change a lot, but I did what I could. Really great character, really great story. She is one of my 3 picks to come back ASAP on Survivor. Like Maria will come back, especially with the chaos and insanity of that decision. I mean, great job winning 3 immunities. Really solid player. Had to have 2 people work together in a challenge, which is a whole thing in and of itself that we'll talk about, I think, with Liz. But oh my God, like the voting for Kenzie when she said she was going to vote for Charlie to his face as she was leaving. Oh my, that is vicious. That is high drama.
And like, I get people are always saying, oh, Maria was bitter to Charlie. But then, like, Maria gets so screwed by Kenzie and Liz at the Final 5 challenge, which was also a crazy, vicious moment, too. Like, Maria just got, like, gobsmacked, steamrolled. Like, God himself came down in the form of Liz to remove Maria from the game. And wow. I saw it coming. I saw Maria going at 5 coming, since the Q vote. So shout out to Stock Watch. But Maria kind of had the opposite, not the opposite. She had a very similar storyline to Q, where it's like she started out as the hero, the mother.
Live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. Like, were there any heroes by the end of Survivor 46 besides Charlie?
Kenzie, you could argue, was a hero. Ben's a hero.
Ben.
Kenzie, yeah, I think the Final 3 is all heroes for sure. Yes, like oh my gosh, and the interview where they had the back and forth text, and look, oh my God, her exit interview, I think with RHAP yesterday, where she said she voted for Kenzie because of a look she gave during fire making. Like no one saw this coming. Like everyone assumed that Maria was like the really sweet mom, badass for sure, but sweet mom, heroic. Oh my God, the last 3 episodes and this whole finale, aftermath debacle changes everything. Originally, probably the final 8, final 9, I was like, yeah, Maria would be nice to have back. I don't think it's going to happen. It's like Julie from 45, but oh my God. She doesn't come back, it's a sin. It's a sin. Yep, it's a Survivor sin to not bring Maria back on a future season because of all of it. Now because of the heroism and the villainy. Wow. It's tough, Randy. It's absolutely tough that they're not speaking. It
is really sad. It is one of the most heartbreaking, just things we've witnessed in the new era. But it makes for really compelling storylines.
This was the most dynamic finale episode probably in a while.
Yep. Friendships broke from this finale that probably won't be repaired the same as what could have been. And it is depressing. It is sick to say it is entertainment, but it's compelling.
We are spectators of gladiator matches. We haven't changed since the Roman days when they watched people fight to the death in arenas. We're watching this, and we're watching people literally break apart, and we're saying it's entertainment. We love you all, and we're so sorry But
in a way, we haven't really seen since All Stars. If you really want to
really want to dig into it.
Yeah, is Maria the new Lex?
Oh God, crazy! All right, let's get a soccer stock watch gets its strategy right. The millionaire strat. We said like early, like episode 1, episode 2, saying you're a millionaire and like actually like telling people that could get you a lot farther. We didn't think that was real. We just kind of hypothesized. It worked. It was actually a strategy that Liz pulled. So we're the GOATs. We're absolutely the best. But man, Liz was dynamic this finale too, with helping Kenzie during the challenge, which a lot of people are really upset about because this is like, it's even more than the Claire sitting out 3 challenges in a row on Survivor 44. Like this is, if people can help people out in the challenges now, it is fundamentally game breaking. It could ruin the idea of comp beasts forever.
Yep. But I also, I mean, I saw a counterpoint too that I kind of believe in. It's hard for, I don't think we'll ever really see this happening again, even if it is allowed, because you're giving up your chance for immunity. I feel like Liz at a certain point realized, I don't know what I'm saying. I thought at first she realized she wasn't going to win, and so she wanted Kenzie to win. But this also isn't the first time we really saw this happen. We saw this happening in MVGX, right? Adam did not want the person who won at 4. He didn't want David to win the challenge, and so he helped out Ken or Jay or something. It was something like that.
Adam helped out Ken to make sure that I think like Jay lost immunity at like final 8 or 9 or something. But yeah. Like it's a strat. We've just never seen it on this scale. Like Liz literally ran back from the end of the challenge, picked up the plank, ran back through the challenge, and gave Kenzie the answer. Like that doesn't that is helping. That is helping somebody out.
And poor Maria, she looked like she wanted to strangle Liz right then and there.
I would have been the same way.
I would have had a meltdown. I would have yelled at Liz halfway through the challenge. But Liz overall this season 2 was just so weird of a player because she would just go under the radar and then do nothing for half the season and then come out and just snipe a random player and then go back to being under the radar. She was the reason why Tevin went home, right? Yeah. She was the mastermind of that, and then went under the radar, screamed at Q, did not vote Q out, and then sniped Maria this episode. I'm not saying she was the reason why Maria went home, but she was the reason why Maria didn't win the challenge. You know?
Yeah, I mean, people are going to remember this season for Q, but also for that Liz freak out, because like that is one of the most like popular Survivor moments probably in a long time that I think a lot of people are going to remember. Absolutely insane. I saw Applebee's on like the drive to the beach like 5 times yesterday, and I almost stopped at like 3 of them just to get a bourbon burger. You know what I mean? Just to feel what to feel, you know? Crazy.
You drink alcohol to feel. I eat bourbon bacon burgers from Applebee's to feel.
We're not the same. Hell yeah. No, Liz was a great presence on the season. Could she come back? Absolutely, she could. I think you don't think so? You don't think she'll come back? Wow.
My thing is that I don't think she'd want to come back. I think she kind of did everything she'd want to. I could see them being like, hey, Liz, do you want to be an alternate? And Liz would be like, no. Because
I could see them giving a call,
Yeah, but I just don't see Liz wanting to return. And plus she was kind of miserable out there, not really being able to eat anything, not going on a lot of rewards. She was great television, but I just don't see her coming back,
Absolutely. But regardless, Liz is a phenomenal presence on the season. Unfortunately, I did not see her on Wednesday. She was not at the finale event. But, and the last thing we'll say is, a couple little things. Liz may have gotten a vote at Final Tribal Council, but at the same time, I think she incorrectly put it that she was going to beat everybody I think she would have actually lost and gotten third place. I think that if Ben, well, that's the thing. If Charlie wins in immunity, he's putting in, I think, Ben and Kenzie. And I think if Kenzie wins, she's putting in either Charlie, Liz, or herself and Liz. But if Liz makes the end, I think she loses pretty handily. And I think that it's unfortunate to see as well that Liz decided to vote for Charlie instead of Kenzie. Like, what? Like, how does that happen? You know?
I figured that it'd be like 5-3 or 6-2 and Kenzie winning. I just didn't know who was going to vote for Charlie.
I talked about this with my family like an hour ago. It was like, if it was 5-3, Kenzie won, and there were no like weird votes or anything, it'd be like, yeah, all right, I get it, whatever. You know, pretty normal result. We got there in the most roundabout way possible. We still got it right. All right, let's move on. Ben, this one's going to be a little bit quicker. Really great character throughout the season. Really cool concert last night. I heard some of the songs. He could shred, and I'd love to get a real concert at Ben's one time. I hope you open for him if he ever comes to Maryland, and you can talk about that in a second. Joins the phenomenal third place regiment we have now. I mean, you're like Jake, Carolyn, Owen,
Xander,
Xander, like Michelle Fitzgerald, if you want to go that far back. Like,
I'll just focus on New Era, because New Era third place is phenomenal.
Yeah, but even then, and so Ben is just another like money person to put in there. Really awesome story. Great job winning Final Four immunity. Didn't really see him winning the game this season, but I can see him come back as like a fun little pick.
Yeah, so I loved Ben from day one because, as we know, I'm a musician myself. I'm a guitarist myself, and so I told Randy and I told the Survivor Now people, if we ever get Ben on any podcast, I would just like to be a part of it, just because we have that connection. But Ben, I thought he was there for the character, for the story, for the narrative. Not really there as a big strategic mastermind or player, but that's okay, right? I really appreciate what the third placers bring into Survivor nowadays. I think Jake still has the best edit of any third placer ever in terms of character and narrative. Carolyn, very iconic, and I think Ben is much of the same, a little invisible here and there, but if he ever comes to Maryland, there are some people in Maryland who book concerts who are big Survivor fans. So there's a few venues where I feel like Ben could play at, and I think those venues I have a connection with, and so it's not out of the realm of possibilities that I get to open for Ben. And I don't know how much Ben would want some Joe Schmo, but I still have my Sega buff. I still rooted for Ben the entire time, so who knows?
Who knows? And the last thing we'll talk about, just a bad read here. Not the best read, although I don't think it was Ben's game to betray Charlie or Kenzie like that hardcore like that and just put them both in against each other. I don't think it was in Ben's game. I don't think that's ever what he wanted to do with his game. I get it. Even if it wasn't objectively bad read, I totally get it. So here we go. The final two. The last two contenders of the season, the horse race. We figured Charlie would lose. It's just in the way he lost. Like, according to Maria, he did literally nothing wrong. Like, he actually didn't do anything wrong. If Maria didn't see that look from Kenzie, she would have voted for Charlie, and it would have been a tie, and Ben would have voted for Charlie, and Charlie would have won. But, like, oh my God. I think short answer, a look is the reason why he lost. Long answer, could have been a little bit more concise and a little bit less like lawyery and a little more just kind of personal at Final Tribal Council. But still, if it's true that Maria voted because of a look, oh my God. Oh, yeah. And two things. Charlie wins 8 out of 10 seasons he plays out. He wins like 9 out of 10. and has to get the invite back. Yeah, he's my third person who I think is coming back if they don't invite winners back, like really often. So
Yeah, so Charlie is the second player to lose Survivor because of a look in someone's eye.
who's the
Fun fact,
first?
Dominic from Ghost Island.
Yes.
Angela changed her vote from Dominic to Wendell because Wendell looked at her when she was going up to vote. Fun fact. So
Oh my God. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
The world changes if Dominic wins that season 6-4. The entire the globe could be destroyed if Dominic won.
Yep. And yeah, Charlie, I really like Charlie. He was the only player that me and Randy put as having a great game of Survivor 46.
Yeah.
And that's excluding Kenzie because we just had her in the winner category anyways. I really like Charlie, but I did not see him as that much of a winner contender over Kenzie because of the lack of personal content. And I think that was kind of his downfall. He wasn't as personable as Kenzie was.
Yeah.
And that's just how the cookie crumbled. I disagree that he was the most robbed player, but I think back to what Jeff Probst said at day one. I bring this up the entire season, and we have the payoff. Sometimes you cannot win, no matter.
And this is it. And this is the craziest way to not get that, but there it is. Couple things here. Long answer for the losses. He probably should have tried to do the fire challenge. No, I actually agree with this point that he didn't really need fire. I don't feel like that was his thing. I just feel like that final tribal council could have done a better job.
Yeah.
Charlie underestimated Kenzie's social game. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that if Charlie saw the bond that Kenzie and Ben had, I think it would have been potentially a completely different result here. And yes, we have an article out, I think written by Randy, available on our website. Go check that out. But yeah, like ending Palooza here. I mean, last season was just like, oh, wow, Austin got 3 votes. I mean, D still won. Like, we knew he was going to win, but Austin got 3 votes. It's like, wow, that's cool. We didn't really expect it, but whatever. Like, half the fan base thought Charlie was going to win. Like, it was half and half, Kenzie and Charlie losing by that minimal of a margin by 1 vote, and also just by randomness. Crazy. Yep. And this is the thing I think people will debate. Shafted by bitterness and poor jury questioning. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tevin voted for Kenzie. I think Tevin had more of a reason to vote for Charlie over Kenzie based on a first glance, but I think Charlie just needs to do a little bit of a better job being a little bit more personable and a little more personal in that final tribal council. And I think he sweeps. I think he wins 6-2, 7-1. I think it's not even that close. I just think we predicted it as people would see him as always behind Maria, which was a point, I think was a point from Soda. But reality, it was just
Charlie should have, I think voting out Maria should have been Charlie's big, I did that. I was never hiding behind Maria, because I think another big part too is he was just too under the radar.
Yeah.
He was too behind and too this, too that. And it's unfortunate, but I can't wait to see him back in the future season if he returns. Because I could also see him not wanting to come back because of the Maria drama,
Yeah, I would love to see him back. I would be interested to see him and Maria on 50 together. It would be weird to see how that plays out, especially since they're really 2 strategic juggernauts. Fire is a big move on most cases, absolutely. Again, it depends on the type of player. Someone like Chris Underwood needed fire or he was losing the game. Gavin would have won if Chris did not throw himself into fire against Devins. I don't think Charlie needs fire. I just think he needs a better explanation, and Randy kind of proves it here. Tevin was really close to voting Charlie. Again, all it takes is 1. If it were 7-1 and a couple of people said they were close to voting Charlie, okay, maybe it's a little hindsight bias. Maybe it wasn't really that close, and maybe Kenzie was going to win the whole time. But 5-3, and a couple people switched like last second. That is game changing. That is season ending changing. And so Charlie will be fondly remembered as a new member of the Dominic Club. And now we go to why Kenzie won. First of all, just give ourselves a little clap, a little pat on the back, a little cheer here and there. We're the GOATs. We're absolutely the best. A lot of people assumed Mermaid Dragon for Banu was a threat, saying that she was the dragon. Realized more and more later on that it actually wasn't. And that from episode 4 onward, it became clearer that Kenzie would win. Like our contender list, she went up after every single episode. And we were right. Like she had a phenomenal social game. And I think it's the best social game that's been edited as a Survivor winner.
Yes.
And it's on the back of Michelle winning back in 32.
Yep. I got worried for a second. I thought you were gonna say it was the best social game we've seen in Survivor.
No. We've seen that.
Sure.
Actually, to be fair, Kenzie had a really good social game. It's just like
recency biased. I don't want to say any absolutes of her having the best social game. She does have the best edit for an under the radar social win, though.
Oh my God, 9 day.
Always the biggest criticism of Survivor is that they can't edit female winners. I don't know. Her voice.
And they fucking did it. They proved us wrong.
They finally did.
Kenzie had a banger of an edit. Like, she had just a phenomenal winner edit this season. Again, Michelle literally fell on the floor and almost died so that Kenzie could, walk up, one step.
Oh, yeah.
This was how you edit a social winner, and I think it's really, really awesome to see. We saw it with Ben. Her relationship with Ben and Liz doing that thing in the challenge at Final 5, we saw exactly why she won is because she was so supportive and so comfortable with people. She was like the mom, essentially. Yep. She was like the mom, and she was the caregiver, and it worked for her. And I think that's what gave her the game. And so now we got to talk about where she ranks as new era winner. Everybody's talking about it right now in the chat. Where do you think she ranks in terms of the best game in the new era?
I'd probably say third, a comfortable third. Okay. I do think she's behind Jam Jam and D. Mm-hmm. I think I don't know. It's weird because I think D played a cleaner game, but I still think people underestimate how good Jam Jam was, especially in the late game of Survivor 44, with just dominating and dividing and conquering the 44 cast. It was never close. I feel like with D, it was a lot closer than we realized. With Austin getting 3 votes, Drew and Julie were still big contenders.
Yeah.
By the end of 44, there were no contenders. It was just D. Or, no, what? By the end of
45, it was just D. 44 was like Jam Jam and Carolyn, but really it was mostly Jam Jam. It was very close. It was very tight.
Very tight.
Yes. Yeah. For me, I'd say it'd be D, then Jam Jam, then Kenzie. Just in terms of dominance and not really being a target or really anything like that the whole time. I would then do Erica and Marianne kind of stack up the same for me, and then Gabler's one of the worst ones ever, so ignore that. But I think a lot of people, thankfully, are hey, Kenzie won. She deserved that. Great for her. No one, barely anyone saying she didn't deserve it. I think she deserved it. We think she deserved it.
Facebook.
Yeah, go on to Facebook and people will say that Charlie deserved it and that Kenzie was the
worst winner of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, disagree. Just wholeheartedly disagree with that. Kenzie absolutely deserved the win. And yeah, I mean, it's good to see us get a nice little dub after coming back from getting it wrong a couple times this season. We got it right, and you can trust us at Survivor Stock Watch.
Yep.
We will bring it back. We bring it back. Sucks to say that we won't get it exactly right every single episode of the season, 45, but we always get it back. We're always right on track. And so, yeah, I don't think. Do you have anything else to say about Kenzie?
No, she grew on me the entire season. I honestly, I was not a big fan of the Yanu 3, except for Q episode 1 and 2. I thought the whole Jess thing was a little mean spirited again, but Kenzie grew on me more and more and more and more. And then going into, episode 9, 10, 11, I was rooting for her. And the fact that Kenzie winning pissed off Survivor Facebook, I was rooting for her even more. Sorry,
just elation. Yeah, absolutely. No, I didn't have the highest hopes for Kenzie early on, but seeing her just come through, really play a strong game to the end, and just really be a positive presence, a hero, as some may say on this season. It was really, really awesome to see. And I think the last thing we'll talk about is narratives. It's about, like, Survivor editors are not clairvoyant, as we all like to say, and we can transition to the full completed edit here, which is really cool. Yes, narratives are a double-edged sword. The Survivor editors cannot truly pick apart everything. There were some things this season that just didn't really matter. Like, let's start with Mariah getting that good of an edit. Didn't matter in any sense of the word whatsoever. Some things did matter, though, and some things were really important, like that very first quote from Jeff. Some of you can do everything you can do in the game, just can't win.
Yep.
And the other side of that sword is a winning game in Survivor as a player. Kenzie had the best narrative out of the final 3. The Yanu 3, decimated, social player, was a target early on, came back. Like, if you have the narrative constructed for you, you don't need to sell it.
Yep.
It's even better than if you have to sell it. And I think that going forward, people with narratives are going to be the number one targets going into the middle end of the game. If someone has a very clear story, everyone's going after that.
I think that's what Jam Jam had in 44. He had the, if you vote me once, you're out. D kind of had that to a lesser extent, but
D had the getting things right. Like, she knew exactly. She said exactly what was going to happen.
She was the Godfather, right?
Yeah.
And then here we have Kenzie with the rags to riches story. I do think the meta is going to change in Survivor. I think people are going to, once they see Jam Jam's win, once they see D's win, once they see Kenzie's win, especially too, I think Survivor is going to become more individualistic. I think Alliances itself is going to be targeted more, especially trios on disaster tribes like the Tika 3, like the Yanu 3. And so I think we're going to see different kinds of gameplays form. I think we're going to, have we're going to be wrong next season. I think we're going to have an early game favorite with a good story, and then they get sniped early on,
As we usually do.
As we usually do with Mariah, but no one can blame us for Mariah. All right.
Or Gem too. Throw Gem in there.
Dog, go on the r/Edgic. Everyone had Gem number 1. I'm going to be so real. I don't blame us. We got cooked.
Some last comments here. First of all, Jay, thank you. You are a fantastic viewer this season. We thank you for your patronage. Mom, thanks, Beth Powell. Survivor 47. Yes, we will be back. It'll be exceptional. Even better than this season. Maybe not the most vicious season of Survivor Stock Watch, but damn it, if it's not the best, we're so sorry.
Yep, we've been getting better every season.
We have been increasingly evolving, getting better, revolutionizing the show. Yep. Like, we cook.
We do cook.
And we did something great this season. With Survivor Stock Watch. And, we talk about the meta, talk about what's going on moving forward. Will, you hit it on the nose. It's going to be narrative-based. Disaster tribes are going to become targets out of nowhere. It is going to be a whole new era of Survivor, potentially. Maybe season 50 is the last of the new era. And after that, maybe this is the start of the new era, and we're just kind of prophesizing it here. The narrative era.
I think we are in the narrative era right now with 43. I think we had the Jesse storyline. I think this is the era of more crafted storylines, not necessarily like, power struggle or social experiment. I think 44 is the most storybook season of Survivor you can get. 45, we had the Emily storyline, we had the Reba 4, and just like Survivor Stockwatch, I think Survivor itself has been getting a little bit better every season. If you haven't seen the Survivor Rites of Passage, Randy himself, New Era hater, said he's been warming up to Survivor New Era.
We did it!
I'm just saying.
We won!
But yeah, no. Me and Jack, we're going to be cooking on the off season. We're going to be thinking of new things. Be on the lookout for a graph at the start of the next season, maybe about the crackpot theories.
Oh, we're going to play it one more time. Got you.
And then Chris Dixon, there you go as well with the crackpot theory graphic.
And there it is. The admission. He's wrong. Thank you, Randy. We appreciate it. All right, Will.
Jack.
This has been the Stocks. Do you have anything else to say for our last episode of Survivor 46?
We were on time every single week, except for the 1 week Jack graduated.
Yes, except for me graduating from college. We never missed a week. We always stayed at 2 o'clock on Fridays. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. Probably that'll be the time going forward. We cooked.
We
Absolutely.
did. Absolutely. All right, Jack.
Thank you all.
Good to see you next year.
Can't wait. Thank you all for an amazing season of Survivor Stockwatch, whether you're new, whether you're old, whether you're here, whether you're there. We thank you all for watching this little show we have over here. We are truly appreciative of everything and comments and opinions and thoughts and all of that. We thank you all for your time. Survivor Now podcast is not stopping, obviously. We got some stuff coming this summer, stuff coming like next week, so be ready for that. But we don't stop. We keep chugging along, baby. But we thank you all for watching us at Survivor Stockwatch, and we cannot wait to see you all next season of Survivor.